okay, I think I can almost say count. I can almost say you can start, and I can almost say you can start, and go right ahead.
Ooh, with that seductive prompt, welcome everybody to the Star Wars skeleton. What the words are hard? Star Wars Skeleton Crew after show. The first one of 2025. We made it, everybody. We made the Castle Run, successfully navigated the holidays, and have made it here to 2025. And because of that, we're now going to bring you not just one episode recap here in this podcast, but two. We'll be covering episodes 5 and 6, with always joined by the Han Solo, that roguish, handsome smuggler, John Dunphy.
Hello.
And then, of course, everybody's favorite Sith Lord, Jr.
I like that. Actually, I like that. Thank you, everybody. You will do my bidding. Thank you. I like that. I like that.
As always, folks, the chat is up and running as well as the super chat. So feel free to hop in, share your thoughts, and if you want to throw a little coin or some credits, perhaps, yes,
Some dataries.
that's right, towards the Republic, GLJ Media would find some good use for it.
Yes.
There you go. So,
that was some datery.
yeah, so it's two great episodes in one great recap. John Dunphy, before we break into it in detail, what did you think overall of episodes 5 and 6?
5 and 6. So it's funny because I feel like you said, the holiday's been going on. 5 and 6 was what, 3 weeks ago. So I'm trying to remind myself. I feel like I've liked what the show has done. I feel like we got I like this mystery of Ad-Atten that was tied into this larger mystery with all these different planets, right? And we end up going to one of those other planets, and it's kind of abandoned except for this like army of kids and stuff like that. And then I like the stumbles that we've gotten, sort of the detours that then get us back into the main story, because now we're back on track finding Ad-Atten, and finding this. I'm interested to learn more about this Captain. Was it Renaud? This pirate.
Renaud.
Attack Renaud, right? It's a very fun story. I've been enjoying everything along the way so far. Um, but in 5 and 6, what were like the main points that I should be remembering?
Oh
Well,
my
five
god!
is
I'm surprised you didn't just rewatch them again. You always rewatch everything like twice. Seems like.
No, I know, but we also had the challenge finale last night. We had, there's a lot going on.
uh, 5 is when we went to the Pirates Lair turned spa where they were playing.
Oh, yes. Okay. That was funny.
And then 6 is where we see the kids split up to try to see who can get back to the ship first.
That's right. Okay. The spa thing is hysterical to me, because SM-33 I've really been enjoying as a droid, and so like the fact that he's coming in playing it up as this like very intimidating, scary place that they're going to, and then they show up, it's a spa. Love that. Um, yeah, that was great. And then I like the little internal conflict that we had in episode 6 with the four of them kind of separating, having their own sort of struggles, overcoming that, and then kind of getting back together. I thought these were two very fun episodes.
Hmm. James, how about yourself?
So since I did just watch them, I'd be totally transparent. I just watched them now before the show, so they're fresh in there.
No secrets hidden here.
No, no secrets. Always transparent. Transparent. See right through me. No, I enjoyed both. I think they're two good middle of the season episodes. They gave us stuff that you asked for. Frank actually gave us a little more stuff. I feel, especially in episode 5, 5 and 6, we got more character development of the kids, which I know, Frank, that was one thing you really wanted to see more. We all want to see more of that, but I think they gave you that. I think they gave you that. 5 was hilarious to me. It was lots of funny little stuff that happened in there. And 6, I thought, which was a little more serious. And it was kind of fun. They were fun, but I felt like the story moved forward. I loved it. I loved going to a different planet, of course. I was there. I felt the kids were brought into some adult situations. The whole captain versus captain thing with
Yeah.
homegrown. That was kind of real. I mean, I had a knife to her throat. I was like, that was interesting. I didn't expect that. And we got to see a hut.
Oh yes, that's
You
right.
can see a lightsaber. I'm like, there's some things they threw in there. I was like, and the X-wing thing, all that stuff. I had a Star Wars gasm seeing those things.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
it was
very
very,
nice.
very Star Warsian for me. Um,
Very nice.
yes, and I enjoy. So for me, as middle of the season, well, middle towards the end. We have 2 episodes after this. I felt like it was good. It moved forward, but there was some comedy. The only weak link, and if you deemed to even watch this show, Jaleel White, I'm sorry, I love you, but woo, a little rough. His character's a little rough to say, a little rough. That was the weak link for me. That's my general statement. I enjoyed the 2 episodes. It's funny because I also did before this the When Calls the Heart after show that just premiered. So I went from 1921 period piece Christiany to like this Star Wars thing. So my brain is like, let's do it itself. It's all going all over the place.
I feel like that fine line with Star Wars cameos, as we've talked about before, none of us here would say no to have an opportunity to even have the tiniest of roles
Mhm.
Right.
on a Star Wars episode in any series. But I think I want to make I would hope that I would fall into the camp of, oh hey, it's this well-known actor in this role. Boy, I wish we would have seen more of them, as opposed to well-known actor in this role, and you're like, oh, yikos, what's going on?
Yes. For me, you know what it was for me? I'm sorry, but I know we're not episode 6 yet, but we are talking about both episodes. And the problem for me was, I think it's choice of voice or something. There was something that just didn't ring true to me.
Hmm.
It felt funny, but he
Oh,
wasn't being funny. He was trying to be serious. So he gave a bigger role this to the episode. But I was kind of like, I don't find him menacing. I don't find him scary. And his delivery was a little rough for me. But I'm a fan of his normally, and I would do the show too.
Yeah, the look that he has, and being a pirate, you think you're going to see somebody a little bit more menacing, more formidable, and then he starts speaking, and the way he's acting as that character, you're like, oof, man, this guy is not menacing and not that serious. John, are you taken out by Mr. Urkel's character, or are you fun? Does he fit in with your beloved Star Wars milieu?
no, I agree with you guys. I think it kind of takes me out of it a little bit. It's like a distraction almost. It's because I know who it is, and like you guys have said, I don't think he's doing the best job. Very nice man, I'm sure, but
Yeah,
not doing the best job performing in the role. And so like because I know who it is, it's Steve Urkel. Every time he appears on stage, I'm like, oh, it's Steve Urkel in Star Wars. It's not like I'm seeing his character that I'm supposed to be seeing that's adding to the story is happening on screen. It's just more of a distraction to me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I mean, I would love to be like surprised and blown away. Like, whoa, yeah, we're seeing something that we never really get to see him kind of do in more of the comedic roles that we know him for, that we more closely associate him with. But not so in this case. I'm still like, "Ugh," I don't know. It's
Right,
like Jennifer Beal in Book of Boba Fett. She was great, even though she was
yeah,
not used hardly at all. The bits that she was in,
right.
spectacular.
totally agree with that. I
Yeah.
mean, we get, well, same with for me. I know Amy Sedaris from Strangers with Candy and all these like outrageous comedy roles, but she fits in the Mandalorian world and Boba Fett.
Yep.
She fit it. I mean, the character she plays totally fits. So
Mhm.
I could take somebody famous in a role, or even have Denny Trejo for that minute in Boba Fett. It works for some weird
Yep.
reason. Like it worked. We didn't see enough of him either. But it was like, so I'm with you, Frank. There's certain ones that he come on, you're like they're playing themselves, so to speak. You can't get out of it. And other ones, it does some of the stunt casting does work. Like it does.
Yeah.
Like I feel like he should be playing the type of character that's like is like trying to pretend to be menacing, but then when the other pirates aren't around, he's like, "Here, it's okay, kids, I'll help you." You know, like where it's like almost like a funny thing where he's trying to pretend to be like this threatening, like scary pirate, but he's actually like kind of a nerdy, like almost like Steve Urkel. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I just feel like he's trying to play a character that he's not built for.
like in another world, he could be that Ja type character where he could, those bits of menacing to other people, but around the kids, being the lovable guy that or the scamp.
Yeah.
Um, still, it would, I don't. It would definitely be a very different sort of show if he was in
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I agree.
did I do that?
Did I
Right.
do that?
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Well, what's been great about this series is that we're seeing other locations that we don't normally get to see in other Star Wars episodes. And this one, we get to see a pirate's lair, which has been turned into a spa, uh, and strict. One very Cloud City-esque sort of entrance to the spa. He's got to have the escorts come in, breaking things down to you. And then a very strict no children policy for the spa. Uh, James, as a father, how do you feel about the no children places? Are you down? Are you a huge fan of going to places where you don't have to have the kids?
Number one, Tony Moore is in the chat. Hi, Tony Moore. Announcing for Tony. Go follow him. I
Tony.
would not be here if it wasn't for Tony Moore. Neither would Frank. So
Legend
And
is
that
still
means that
around.
neither would I.
that means neither would you. Exactly. Tony Moore is your grandfather, John. Yes. Captured it. He said you can't have children at the spa. The Pirates there was so good. Even though I'm a father and grandfather, I have no problem saying no kids allowed. I love no kid weddings, no kid receptions. I don't get little shits running around. I'm all about having like just on my own time with the adults. And Tony says sometimes kids should not be at all adult places. So I agree with that. And I thought it was kind of funny because it said adult spa. I thought if this was another series, there'd be some other meanings. He kept saying all these sensory things. I was like, okay, I have a dirty mind, folks. I have a dirty mind. I was thinking of all kinds with the mud bath and everything. So yeah, no kids allowed. I have no. Even though literally tomorrow's my grandson's Preston's birthday and my daughter's birthday on Saturday, but I'm okay with no kids. Frank.
Yeah. John, for all the children you've yet to have, uh, are you gonna? Would you be distressed as a parent if they couldn't bring your children with you?
No.
It's all about I want to go to that spa and I want the happy ending.
Yeah.
Yes.
Honestly, what do you think a
Being,
happy I was gonna
being
say,
good massage afterwards,
what
and
do you what do you think a happy ending is like in a space spa, right?
Ah, there you
They
go.
probably got all sorts of interesting things that can
stuff.
that can that can let's move on. Let's move on.
Exactly. As I said, I'll say I got dream, but I'm thinking all kind of stuff with that. But now this is a PG-13 show. We'll go into that.
Yeah. Yeah, like unlike Andor, which will probably just give us a very deep investigative look inside a different side of the Republic, the New Republic, or the Empire. This the Skeleton Crew is not really spending too much time showing us the ins and outs and all the sights to be held at Lanupa, the great resort that they're at. This is more about, hey, we're here and we've got to find good old Taquinad's his lair, so he has the coordinates for Ed Atten. So as always, you got to split them into teams. Cover more ground. That's always a sensible thing. So, well, we've got our teams. James, did you enjoy how the teams are split up in terms of seeing different character dynamics?
Yeah, I love that. And on soaps, we always like that too. We watch soaps where they like certain characters get together. So you're like, oh, those two are talking. It's kind of fun. Or even on sitcoms, they always have the A people and the B people. But so switch them up. You're like, oh, that person's with that person. That person's with that person. Okay, it's a fun dynamic. I know I enjoyed it. I did, and I liked how he made them the wise elders. They explain how short. I think that was very clever. That was very clever, and we're seeing now we're seeing the A and B story. It's all one story, obviously, but we're now going to see it two different ways, and we know they would come together at some point. But it's kind of fun to see them go off and have their own mini adventures within the story.
John, I do like how they're not wasting like John is just burning through credits, trying to make this cover story work. Like, yes, they're not kids. And the kids aren't helping because they're sitting there in the back, just playing slap fights and stuff like that.
Right.
Trying to be all serious. How did you dig their attempts to kind of blend in and splitting off?
Yeah, no, I thought it was great. I actually just also to piggyback on what James said, because one of my favorite parts of this whole thing was when John came out and was like, "Oh, here are the wise elders," and he's like, "Oh, by the way, let me translate because they don't understand."
Oh my god!
And
Yes.
and like the translation was literally just like, "Wow."
I was laughing so hard.
Right? That was one of my favorite parts of the whole, not just episode, but probably the whole season.
I
So
agree. I agree.
I feel like they must have had so much fun, Jude
Oh,
Law and these kids filming this, because they're all killing it. And just the chemistry between them, even though Jod is like an antagonist, and like kind of is not a friend of these kids, really. Like, I just love watching them all together.
I would feel like, yeah, in the Star Wars universe, that's I suppose even Star Trek too. What's great about that is that at least if we were going around somewhere on planet Earth, if you were trying to fake a language, there would be some things that you'd have to do. Like Star Wars or Star Trek, you get a lot of free reign in terms of what constitutes a language. It could just be a lot of ows and
Right. Yeah.
a lot of freedom to be able to like, oh yeah, that's a language. What do you mean that's not a language? Totally communicating with that.
Right.
Uh, so yeah, first of all, either you did the spa planet look inviting, just in and of itself as a spa. Is this a place you'd want to go to? Just diving, just sitting in that mud. I don't know. It wasn't doing much for me as a place to be like, yeah, I would like to just sit in this huge like pile of mud.
Yeah, no, it really reminded me of just at what we've done what we've done here, right? It's just like we take nature and we just put a spa or resort on top of it, and it's like, all right, maybe this is enjoyable, but it's also incredibly tacky and like just so over the top. And I wouldn't no, like I said, I wouldn't want to be sitting in these pools of mud with these other random people.
I mean, James, I think of the three of us, you're certainly the most cultured. I
True.
mean, for you, is this? Are you getting like those mud baths and all those kind of things like that when you go to a day spa?
I've had a mud bath before, actually.
Mm.
I've had a mud bath. I've had a seaweed wrap.
Oh.
I felt like a baby. I was being swaddled like a baby. I did. I peed on myself.
And space afterwards.
Wrong kind of show. Wrong kind of show. No, no, all that stuff really does, because it's not okay, folks. It's not just like well on the show, but in real life, not just some regular mud from dirt outside in your garden. It has minerals and stuff in it, and it does when you go in it at first, it brought back the inner child. I mean, I was a very messy like kid. I used to play in the dirt and stuff, and I love stuff like that. So it reminded me of being a young boy, just being able to play outside in the dirt. But your body does feel better afterwards. So I'm telling you, that I would love to go to that place. And I just thought it was kind of cool because we didn't know this place. I mean, there's all these planets out there, but these places like this is a place of peace. So I mean, it's like, oh, okay, it's just like there. I mean, okay, I love it. I mean, I would go there. They went to that room. I love all of it. I would partake in all of the spa's pleasures.
Should we should we all go to the spa together and get mud
Yes.
baths?
All right.
Mud baths.
There you go. We'll go to
Up to your neck. Up to your neck in mud.
Oh, yes. And of course, no clothing allowed.
Well, you
That's
can
right.
wear shorts, I think.
Well, why would we?
Moving on.
I do like when we're thinking about like spas more often than not in science fiction, whether it's Star Trek, Star Wars. It's we think spas and pleasure planets. It's we're
Ooh,
titillating.
pleasure
Like this.
planets.
Yes.
Now Tony C is coming too.
There
Okay.
you go. All right. The more the merrier.
Yeah.
Mary, come on in. No,
Let's just do one big mud bath. We'll all get in the same bath.
There you
I
go.
think what I think it'd be kind of fun actually. I know all you guys. Let's do it.
Yeah, this for Skeleton Crew, a very we very kid friendly approach to it. You're not even, but not in a point where you feel like you're being like, it's like you don't really, I guess you're not really dwelling on that, like the more sensuous side perhaps of this spy. You're just like you're just sucked right into the adventure and you're just going along with like, oh yeah, we gotta. This is more about the pursuit of them trying to get home to Ed and then worrying about like all the kind of wacky misadventures of them running up into a more like adult type spa as kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very much a kid approach. I mean, we're having fun on here. Of course, we're adults having fun on here, and it's nighttime and all that stuff. And we're all just dirty people. But the show itself, it was more of a kid approach and a more comedic approach. It was very that episode was very comedic. If you think about it, it was really comedic. So I thought it's cute, and for kids, they thought, wow. I think it's just wow. So and like I said, we went straight to the adventure, and we had some adventures.
Yeah.
Now, going into this, I mean, Wim is feeling kind of bummed, and we do see Jod giving him some advice. James, as a father and a parental figure to many, uh, were you just really relating to Jod's advice to Wim?
Oh, hilarious! He just like forget everybody, forget them, forget everybody. They're all attachments. That to me I almost wouldn't mind some kind of origin story about him. I mean, like just one episode. I don't need like a series about him, or maybe it would be good. I don't know, but I just think he's an interesting character. So he's a pirate at heart. So I guess he would say that they're all attachments. Of course he would. He's a swashbuckling, non-trustworthy pirate.
Yeah.
Different names and screw people over, and it's all fun and games to him. So talking to, but then he switches kind of mid talking to Wim and gets kind of serious and says some really actually cool stuff you would tell a kid. But it's all within you. It's all about you. Like you can, your destiny and reality. Like I just kind of thought it was kind of. They went from kind of over the top. Of course, my pirate. Don't trust no one kind of thing. To more of like it's up to you. Everything's up to you. You got to pull it together. So I thought that was kind of cool.
John, as we see Jod talk with women stuff, and we talk about attachments and things like that, does that play into more or less the idea that he could possibly have some sort of Jedi past?
Yeah, I think, it's funny, like there was I forget the line exactly now, but there was something that Jod said to Wim, like like your focus has to be this or something, and he used the Force to like lift something in that moment.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's gonna be something like maybe in
Well,
the
Win said
finale.
to him, John,
Yeah.
might remind you, he said to him, Phil, if you're not a Jedi, how do you have these powers? He doesn't say anything.
Right, right. And so I feel like that conversation's going to be important, and like what Jod said to Wim there with like your focus has to be on this. I wish I could remember the exact line now, but he said something that I think like is going to come back. Like Wim is going to use it against him almost maybe in the finale. But Jod in particular is just very interesting to me because I feel like obviously we've seen him use the Force multiple times, and I would like to see. And we only have one episode left, so I don't know if we're gonna see it. But like, I
But
want to know.
from here, we haven't done episode 7 yet. So as of this recording, what he means is these
Right,
episodes. You guys have all seen probably episode 7 by now. There's only episode after that. I just make sure you clear
right,
that.
right. But at this point, like, we don't know. Like, was Jod ever at the Jedi Temple? Did he have any training of any kind? Was he just some Force sensitive kid that taught himself a few tricks? Uh, was there some kind of pirate in his past that raised him that was like a Sith or something, or just had Force powers that taught him some stuff? Like, I want to know more about Jod and where his power comes from and how he was able to sort of kind of, I mean, not that he's a super powerful force wielder or anything like that, but like, where did he learn this power from? And which is what the hell's going on with him? Where did he come from? I want to know more about that, and I don't know if we're gonna get those answers in this show or in this season anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. I mean, and given like his age, I mean, it does make sense that he could have been a child, a youngling, right before the Great Purge in episode 3. And as we saw, like with Riva in the Kenobi series, I mean, like all that stuff, especially as a youngling, I'm sure it's got to be just a traumatic series of events to go through. So if Jod was there, about to go through the Jedi trials as a youngling, and that all went down, I mean, that certainly could explain his more, his sour outlook towards life.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a very interesting story there, at least to me. Like the fact that, or the idea that Jod could have been some youngling at the Jedi Temple that maybe saw Anakin like killing other younglings or something, Padawans, and just became corrupted and got picked up by these pirates and just always had the ability to use the Force and just saw, you know, the Jedi turn against, see Anakin kind of killing all these younglings and the Jedi Council and Jedi order just completely collapse. Like that's an interesting story to me. Like a Padawan, a young kid like that started out and that became a pirate and had this whole other story. I don't know.
Especially with the youngling that knows just enough about the Force that can do these. I don't even say call them like parlor tricks, but pretty like low end usages of the Force. Being able to levitate, or move stuff around, or unlock cuffs. But I mean, so far we haven't really seen him do anything spectacular with it at all. So
Yeah.
which kind of makes sense of somebody that was fearing for their lives as a youngling, was trying to hide that they were a Jedi. Maybe they just didn't really take time to develop a lot of their abilities with the Force, but just enough to be able to still help him out as a pirate when needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it also feels like, and jumping into like six and uh, even a bit of seven, which we won't get into until the next episode. But I don't know, like how far like his crew knows. It's like one thing for him to be coy with the kids, but it also seems like even the crew does not realize that he has that. Uh, John, do you get that same impression too?
I do, yeah, because I feel like if they knew that he was like a Force user too, like, I don't think he ever would have been in the position he was when the series started, like in a jail cell, locked up, his own crew, you know, rose up against him and threw him in the brig. And it's like he could have escaped at some point. You know what I mean? Like he could
Yeah.
have done that before the kid showed up. And he waited, I guess, for a ship, which makes sense. But like, I don't know. I feel like if the crew knew that he was Force sensitive, like they wouldn't have just kind of cuffed him and put him in a cell and said, "All right, well he's good now. We're fine." Like, you know,
Yeah, because there are moments where this is tying into seven, but moments where he could have used his abilities to get out of situations, and he does not until
yeah,
like he's not really being observed carefully by the crew, which I
yeah.
thought was interesting. So
It seems like he definitely is. He definitely picks and chooses when he's gonna use these powers.
yeah. Yeah, so yeah, there is a lot to Jod. I just don't know the way the series has gone, if there'll be enough time to really dive into that. And one, who knows if this character makes it to a season two? If there is, it'd be great to see more of his backstory. I'm definitely intrigued. I just don't know if this series will have enough time to
Right?
do it.
No, I agree.
Well, but it won't. And I mean, that's kind of almost we'll give you a little bit, not everything what you want. Like they'll get like they always say it's on soaps, and I mean they maybe say it's other things too. We don't give you everything you want. We give you just enough to wet your whistle, so you want more, so to speak. And I think this series has done a great job so far in the 6 episodes that I've seen so far to give us a little mystique about him. We're getting bits and pieces about him, like some different names, mentions of that's how he left me with a snake, a pit of leeches. Like we're getting these ideas that he was somebody out there doing his thing. And like I said, I wouldn't mind a single special episode or one off, just like with some of his adventures. It'd be kind of fun. I guess he's one of the most interesting characters in a long time for
Hmm.
me in this universe over the several series. I'm like, yeah, we might know more about him. I think that's what they're doing. The show's about the kids. It's not about him. The show's about the kids.
Yeah.
So he's a major character on the call sheet, but he's not the main one. So like at the beginning of episode 5, we saw the parents come together for a
Yeah.
quick scene. They're not the leads either. So I appreciate that they showed them for a minute because they are worried about them and they are part of the series and they're trying to come up with some kind of plan because I'm thinking obviously in the end when it gets back to Atten they're going to play a role in, obviously, the adults and the kids, clearly. But I think with John's like that, he's supposed to be this kind of, they sprinkle him in. And they give you little things here and there. And it's so funny when they tie down 33, and then, of course, he just breaks out of it.
Yeah, yeah.
But Joss is kind of, I think it's Jude Law. It's Jude Law. Jude Law is an Oscar nominated several times actor.
He's fantastic.
He's
Yeah.
great. He's great at it. He fits the universe, I think, so well.
Yeah, I've had a blast watching him, and I would love to see another show that features his character or a movie. I want to learn more about him, and I want to see him play this character because it's just, like you said, James, it feels like he just fits in this universe, and it's a lot of fun. I don't know.
James, would you consider it that you were being uh, would you consider disappointment, I should say, is if by the end of episode 8 you don't really learn anything more about John's backstory other than what you've seen so far?
No, I'm disappointed. I want more. I just want more. And I would hope for a second season. I like the show so far, so I hope there is a second season. I don't know how it's going to end, but I'd love to see a second season with him in it. I would be disappointed if he's not back. They do a second season, they don't bring him back. I would be, unless the ending is so good and his character is written out in a way that makes sense, then I understand. But to me, he is a part of the series, and so I need to see him continue.
There's a part of me that would love to see like a post-credit scene like we got for Book of Boba Fett, where like this adventure wraps up and we get a post-credit scene following Jod somewhere flying off into the galaxy. And it's setting up a new adventure for him. Like I like these kids and I want to see more of them potentially in the future, whether it's through another season of this show or not. But like if we found out in a post-credit scene or whatever for the finale of this season that, we were going to learn more about Jod and go on an adventure with him, maybe without the kids, I'd be 100% on board for something like that.
Me too. Me too.
So this episode in terms of for Jod, I mean, one, he's excited about the idea of just spending some time on a pleasure planet. Just a spa, just like chilling, using what credits that he's been able to get out of Wim's sock, to be to be able to keep using. But when he does run into an old acquaintance, who knows him by a bunch of old other names, uh, you start saying like, "Uh-oh, uh, we're on the clock again," because this is not about me being able to relax and then we'll go and find out the location of Ed Hatton. No big deal. Now that he knows that somebody that he's kind of screwed over in the past is going to alert his pirate pals where he is exactly. He knows time is not on his side. So it's sorry kids. Uh, yeah, no time to play now.
Yeah, vacation's cut short.
So they interesting that because I think like with Jod, we have not like the show is kind of cut around us seeing him being truly malevolent. Like when he's first trying to escape the planet, when he goes back to get SM-33 and he runs into his old buddy, we cut away before we see how he gets himself out of that situation. Uh, this time, when we see his old pirate friends actually do show up on the planet as they're trying to find the location of Tax pirate lair. As they're chasing him, he fills once he empties the little cavern of acid for them to be able to get into Tax chamber. While the rest of the pirates are outside the door trying to get in, he just tells SM-33, fill it back up. Let's. I can only imagine. Tough to tell how many pirates would have died in there.
Yeah.
But I mean, certainly not something that Jod was caring about. Do you think, John?
No, not at all. I think he's been like desperate and like kind of like a step behind this whole series, it feels like. And then he's slowly kind of gotten himself into a better position to where before he had to go back and get SM-33, right? Because the kids were his only hope of like getting out of there and like having a shot at maybe finding this treasure because they're talking about At-Atten. Like what? But now he's in a spot now that we've progressed through the season and gotten to, episode 5, where now he's in a little bit more of a position of power. And it's like, all right, fill this thing back up with acid. It's like now we're seeing the real side of him. I feel like where before he had to be a little bit more sheepish and kind of go with the flow and just work with the kids and do the right thing. And now it's like, all right, now I'm just getting annoyed.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting desperate. And like I just it's time for me to show my true colors here because I'm actually kind of a badass. Not just like not just like a stumbling, fumbling pirate that had failure after failure that his crew just decided to go, mutiny against. It's like I'm actually like kind of an asshole.
Yeah, because James, while we're in Tack's place, we like you said, we do see some Easter eggs. We do see a lightsaber. What I did like that at least everybody was about don't touch anything. Do not touch anything.
Yes.
uh, which incredibly hard for Wim once he sees the lightsaber to be able to do that. But we do find a hologram that of Tack talking about at and stuff. Uh, kind of a kind of a deteriorated hologram, James. Still being able to kind of play up the mystery to who exactly Tack is. What did you think of that hologram?
Liked it. I mean, makes sense. It's kind of distorted and old, and everything's falling apart. I mean, I loved it. I thought it was great. I love holograms on Star. That's a Star Wars regular. As if they always have holograms and things. So I love that. And again, we're getting some more backstory because I mean, SM-33 had a lot of lines too in this series. He had a lot of lines in these episodes explaining Captain Renaud and when he did this. And I mean, he had a lot of lines in these episodes explaining what happened in the past. So I enjoyed all of that. I think it's all part of the new Star Wars lore. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I feel like the interesting thing about it too is it's as opposed to like on our planet in terms of like pirate tales and looking for a hidden treasure and stuff. There's like a definite difference between like fashions and what they wore as pirates as opposed to us modern day. So it's a very definite, distinct. You can tell, you see the gap of time in
Hmm.
this, and I feel like with this series, the gap of time to know exactly how long Tack Renard has been out there doing this, and he disappeared on his quest to find Ad-Atten. I mean, we've seen like bones on his ship, and we've seen SM-33 kind of deteriorated, but I still don't have a really good sense of like how long ago
Right.
like this whole quest started. Was it 50 years ago? Was it 100 years ago? Uh, Based on what the visual cues and stuff that you've seen so far, John, like how long do you think the story of Tack Renard has been going on?
Right. And that's yeah, it's really hard to say. Like, I wish I could give a more definitive answer, but there's like a part of me that feels like it might not have even been that
Right.
long ago because like that hologram, like why not show the face if this guy has been like long dead? Like it almost makes me feel like maybe Tack Renaud didn't die in this like ship crash. Maybe he's still alive or something like that, and like in the last episode, we'll see some other hologram where we see the face, and that person is the supervisor of Ad-Atten or something now. Like they're in charge or something. Like what's the deal with the mystery? I guess is my thing. Is like if this is some legendary pirate that died so long ago, and like there's no way that they could still be alive. Like why obscure the face unless it's just something to throw us off and like kind of make us guess like, oh, could there be something more to this? Which that could be it too. Maybe it's literally just nothing. It's just an old hologram where we can't see the face of the person that's talking. But like it makes me feel like maybe there's something more to it. And that maybe this Renaud character is not actually gone, you know?
I would agree, but I also playing back everybody that we've seen on Ad and the various characters that we've seen. Like so far, we have yet to come across if he was indeed like the supervisor or anything like, or at least a character that we've seen already. That's why we're kind of obscuring his face now to really pay that off later. Like we haven't seen other than like the parents, like really any other adult characters on Ad that you go like, oh, okay, that's clearly him now, but on Ad. So I will be curious
Yeah.
yeah, like why we're playing so coy with his face at this point.
Yeah.
Other than just like it does play up the idea of like, oh, it's just yeah, more of like an old, decrepit program that's just kind of breaking down just for a cool visual look, as opposed to
Right.
having anything more significant. Uh, but we see like once they figure out the location, Jazz like, you know what? I'm done with you kids. I don't need you guys anymore. It's time for me to take control of this ship. So, yeah. James, how did you like your boy making his heel turn?
I love it. I thought this is very funny. I didn't. I'm like, now we're gonna see the adult side of him. Like he's
Yeah.
like, now he's not playing no more. And so that whole sequence, that whole scene with holding homegirl with the knife against her throat and saying, just yield, yield. Like, come on, girl. Just say it. I got to hear you say it. And her holding down.
Yeah.
It goes back. It goes back. See, it's a callback to episode 5 in the scene where, what the episode? Oh, yeah, beginning of episode 5 goes, turn SM33 on. No, you do it. You turn it on. And he's like, you're scared. And she's looking at, they look at each other for a minute there, her and John, and like there's like a power struggle going there. She goes, Kimmy, you turn on. Like it was like it was a call back to that later. Now I'm done with you kids. I'm the captain now. No, basically what it was, right? That's what it
Yeah.
was. And then Wynn had to decide to try to be the hero.
Yeah.
Tried to, didn't really work, but but it's like this is a real situation now. This isn't child's play. I enjoyed that turn. I thought it was kind of cool turn.
Yeah, it's John, I as somebody who loves Jedis in all shapes and sizes, I know you were blown away by Wim's ability to handle that throw.
Well, yeah, when he turned that thing on and it went straight into the ground, I lost it because I'm sitting there like he's got this lightsaber. I'm like, oh my God, Wim is gonna be the hero. He's got this. He's got this. And then it goes so horribly wrong, that I was like, why am I surprised by this?
Yeah, I mean, to James's point, I mean, we're really kind of running to the point where it's like, all right, I've kind of entertained your kind of kid notions of how this adventure is supposed to go, but you're coming, straight into some hard cold reality of like, nope, I'm not a very friendly guy, and I just want some money, and
Yeah.
you're keeping me away from getting that money, so you have to go.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm not, I can't say I'm surprised by it, but like the turn by Jude Law from like kind of like a funny, lovable character that you shouldn't really trust in the very beginning to now like knowing like this is a bad guy. Like it was jarring even to me watching it, even though I should know that like that's probably what's going to be coming. Like so like just the performance by Jude Law, I think is great because I'm sitting there watching why is John doing this? Like like
So the kids, rather than be caught with him, they use a little secret escape hatch, and they fly out somewhere. They drop out underneath the table, and they get away. Then we cut to Jod coming out at the day spa. I do like that sequence of him just loaded up with jewels, necklaces, got it all, struggling out of that hole. It's just like,
And SM33 had jewels around him too.
of course, yeah. I mean, for sure. You gotta, James. I'll ask you about SM33 because it's like his usefulness and being able to like kick butt and take names kind of varies from moment to moment. Sometimes just we see him doing some really incredibly cool stuff, and then other times just taken out in the blink of a light. How do you feel about how SM33 is used?
But it's just funny. SM33 is not one of my favorite characters. I mean, he's okay, but he's not one of my. I'm not. I mean, he's fine. I'm not. He's not one of my characters. So,
I guess I
but
won't share with you my fan fiction that I have written about him. I was
all
hoping
based
to,
on SM33,
yeah, I
right?
was hoping to do that as a special JLJ Media audio presentation, but
Now
it's
you
never.
know we'll produce. I'll produce it. Sure, I'll do that. I have no problem with that. But no, he's not one of my characters. But no, I think he was funny as hell because when they slapped that thing on so he couldn't be angry and couldn't be combative, that was hilarious. Again, it was used for
oh
comedy.
yeah, the restraining bolt.
And they just keep walking over. So they use him. It seems like they use him in every episode for certain things. Sometimes comic relief, sometimes information teller. Sometimes we call it, like we always say on shows, this was an info week or an info episode, like not talking. He did a lot of talking in this episode. He talked a lot, so he was like, because remember they found him also as a callback to the beginning. Like, they found him. He has a history too. So like so him and John both have these histories. So I mean, he's used effectively, but like he's not one of my favorite characters. But he's used effectively. He's fine.
I mean, John, what is like more often than not in Star Wars, we see droids kind of being of service to, either just a society or a particular individual. Rarely, other than some comics and stuff, do we get to see like droids that could just be like intentionally violent. Uh,
Mhm.
and what I do like to it, James has just brought up those moments where you want to see Smee just he wants to smash people, as he's seeing what's happened to the pirate's lair, that it's been turned into this day spa, but is unable to because of the restraining bolt. How do you feel about having those droids that they just want to kill somebody if they could?
No, it's great. I really enjoy SM-33. Um, but I also agree with pretty much everything James just said. Like SM-33 for me kind of just like does the job that he's needed to do. Like I feel like other shows, like when I watched Rebels, right? Chopper became one of my favorite droids in
Right,
all
no,
Star
right,
Wars.
yes,
And I
yeah.
was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get to see live action Chopper in Ahsoka and all that. And same thing with like Rogue One and then Andor, right? With like K2SO, right? Like huge deal. I love those droids. SM-33, I don't really have the same feeling for, but I also like really appreciate the way that they're using SM-33. And definitely does the job for like the comic relief when you need it. Is very useful when you have an abandoned ship and four kids that have never flown on a ship like that, and now all of a sudden you've got a droid that knows how to start the ship. Like it's like he's just been like this very useful tool that's like he can be used as comic relief, but also to help push the story along. Like SM-33 to me doesn't feel like any kind of like star of the show like some other droids are, but just like a very useful, very entertaining part of the show that's kind of like more of a secondary part, but not really like a main, focus of the show.
Yes, I feel like even like R2D2 or C3PO, we fell in love with them.
Yeah.
Like, even BB, we fell in love with, we fell in love with them. Like, there's certain droids, you're right, that we fall in love with that may even have less lines than this one. But for some reason, this one, maybe because he was, I feel like they want us to like him, that he is cantankerous on purpose, that he is like this weathered droid, but as you've seen it all, been around. But I think it doesn't grab me. It's not making me, like, I'm not in love with him.
Yeah.
Man, this is the
I know
wrong
We lost Frank. Frank's gone.
wrong room. This is it. All right. Well, I guess I'm gonna have to go start my own, media empire now to dedicate it to my
Oh my god.
SM-33 fan fiction. That's fine.
Brand media. Brand media. Let's do it. Let's do it. Do it.
So we end episode 5 with Jad back in the clutches of the pirates. The kids left behind. The ship is still on the planet, but we start episode 6 as they fly through the tunnels that they escaped in, land down kind of like it seems like to be like a kind of a garbage chute type thing at the bottom of the large cliffside that the spa's on. Ship's still up atop of the landing deck, but the pirates are ready to get the heck out of there just as the X-wings are showing up. And I do like the kids as always, expecting the X-wings to be able to see them down all the way there at the bottom. Uh, but John, how did you feel about seeing a little bit of just our traditional Star Wars kind of characters things showing up? We've already seen an X-wing before, but we get to see a
Yeah.
little bit more again this time around. Do you enjoy seeing those little bits where you get to see just oh hey, I know that style of ship.
Absolutely. Yeah. Anytime you see a little X-wing showdown. It's always fun, and I liked the fact that like the kids put it together too. Of like, oh wait, it's those X-wings. That's who Kim called. Oh, they are the good guys. Those X-wings, like they're the good guys. Like that was kind of fun too. So
We can trust that cat bird.
yeah, it's like, oh wait, they keep going after the pirates. I guess they're good. So that was fun.
Uh, so yeah, this episode we kind of split between the Jad trying to stay out of the clutches of getting killed by his pirate clan, his
Hmm.
former pirate clan, while we see the kids kind of fracture a little bit, James, where Fern's all about like we got to climb back up this cliff and get to the ship, and Wim's all about like, hey, no, wait, there's these garbage droids that are just carrying this stuff. Maybe we should follow them.
The trash crabs.
Trash
The
crabs.
trash crabs. Yes.
And see where they take us, and maybe that person could be able to help us get to the ship. Uh, and this is our first time to get a little insight into KB. So James, how did you feel about seeing how the characters paired off and getting a little bit more into KB?
I loved it. This was I mean, the 5 or 6 of my favorite episodes of the season so far. So I know we talked. It's been a while, folks. It's been like several weeks since we were on. But Frank asked for a few things. I thought about Frank. I thought, well, now we're getting them. We're getting more. Now we're back to the kids. And we're getting. And he wanted some of the kids to kind of mellow out a little bit, get some stuff. We got that. We got to. I mean, KB has her own backstory too. We got to kind of see a little bit about her health and what does that mean? And she needs these. So we saw that portion happening. Neil, of course, was Neil, the cutest thing on earth. He was just like trying to be everybody. While the other two characters, there's a struggle there. They're kind of getting how serious this is in each in their own ways. Finally, we're seeing that when is this is kind of we're kind of serious. He's starting to think. So there's like growth, saying these are they're locals. Let's follow them instead of trying to kill ourselves climbing this mountain thing. Maybe they'll take us somewhere to get help. That's growth for Win. That really is growth. And they're all not just listening to whatever homegirl says anymore. They're kind of like, wait a minute, we got our own minds too. And the trash crabs are so cute, of course. I love they're copying everything they said. It was kind of cute. But I thought this episode, especially seeing KB and Win off together, it was like regular kid. It was like a kid adventure, but also there was some opening up. I just thought this episode especially we saw the kids. It was not so much Neil because he had his own episode basically, but the other three we saw definite push and pull and growth in their characters, which I think is great. Again, for a middle of the season, this is good. They're setting up for the last couple episodes.
Uh, yeah, I mean, John, for as tight as KB and Fern have been so far this season, we kind of see a little, just little bit of a rift in this. Not like a major one, but enough that they decide to go separate paths in terms of how to get to the ship. Uh, um, how have you felt about like what this kind of separation of the two of them kind of showed about their relationship?
Yeah, I thought this was a good episode. I felt like it was in terms of, action, except for the very end, the way they escaped and everything. Like this there wasn't a ton of like action in this episode, but I felt like there was some very good character moments and character development, and I felt like um I think that in the first like episode or two, Neil was like my favorite character. Like I love Neil. I still do. But KB from like episode 3 onward, KB has been like my favorite character, I think. Um, and so it was really fun to get some more like little personal moments with some of the characters because they were split up, so they weren't in this big group. So we had, one-on-one conversations. And I thought in particular the KB and Wim moments, um, where we learned some more about her backstory and her health and all that, and just seeing Wim help her. Um, that scene really did a lot for me. Like I really that was like powerful to me. Like it just there was something about just like these two kids who have just been trying to make it through this adventure, um, and it's a low point, and they're helping each other get through this really hard time. And it's just I don't know. There was something about this interaction, especially, and the Neil and Fern one was good too. Like both pairs that they showed were dealing with their own adversity and struggles and working to get through it, and they all come together at the end. But it was the Wim and the KB interaction more than any that like really I loved in this episode.
I
um
agree.
Yeah, and I felt intriguing just the little bits of backstory that we get about KB, and we'd see like the reason that KB's kind of had the falling out with Fern is just because she's had some accident in her past that has caused her to have some sort of kind of technological cybernetic type kind of uh I guess surgery to be able to keep her alive, uh,
Yeah.
which then does have a very kind of specific set of environmental requirements. Like you don't want to be by a place that's got too much steam or too much mud. You know, she basically the spa planet is kind of like the one of the worst places that she could be hanging out in.
Yeah.
But like, because when we see KB's parents, I as far as I know, they are humanoid.
Yeah.
Unlike KB, who seems to be some sort of kind of, at least right now, like cyborg, just because of some sort of accident. Is that kind of track with you guys,
That's what I've gotten from it as well.
James? That does that track with you?
Sorry, say it again. Sorry, I was looking at chat. Somebody asked me a question. What was it? What was it again?
Oh no! Oh, what was the question, James?
Well,
Ooh.
no, no. They go. Are we touching episode 7 on this chat? My wondrous channel masters. I
Oh,
would tell them actually, Marcus, one Marcus 79. We're not only because I haven't watched 7 yet. Plus, we want to have separate episodes. So next week will be 7 and 8.
yeah.
As
We
we went
kind of
to 5 and
we
6.
tickled it a little bit earlier, but
Yeah,
We
that's
tickled
we
it.
mentioned a few things, kind of, Marcus. You want go back and watch earlier on the weekend, but no, we're gonna do, next week will be 7 and 8. We want to make sure we split it up a little bit. We don't want to do all the episodes at once. So we're just I haven't seen 7 yet, so I'm gonna watch that next.
But James, for you, as I was asking John, for KB, because we've seen her parents already, and they seem humanoid as far as we know,
Yeah,
but KB seems like very much of a human cyborg type blending because of whatever accident that she had earlier in her life. Does that kind of track with you?
yeah. No, I mean,
Uh,
no, I mean the thing is, I think I love her. First, I love KB's hair. I just love her hair. But no, I just think it's we saw without the thing on. Like we're getting more stuff. Excuse me, we're getting all choked up. No, we're getting more about her because she seems almost humanoid, so to speak, devoid of some kind of emotion. We saw emotions. We saw her weak. We saw
yeah.
her, when she reconciled with Fern. I'm just afraid, like friends. I'm just afraid to tell you when I don't know something. I can't handle something. That was a beautiful emotion. And then I'm like, this is good. Like John said, we're seeing these kids actually have real emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I thought her with her visor and stuff, I thought it was a more of like an ocular impairment that she had, or
Hmm.
but very much when we see the back of her head open up, and so to be able to extract all the necessary areas of stuff to the circuit and stuff that they need to replace that's been corroded. I was like, whoa, this is
Yeah.
definitely a much more she's much more cybernetic than I
Yeah.
was anticipating.
Yeah, I thought
Whatever.
she was like Joy LaForge on Next Generation, and sorry, Star Trek people. But I
Yeah.
thought it was like you said, as an eye thing. He's wearing the things, but her thing is much more than that.
Yeah, it's like a brain injury, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which even that is interesting, right? Because they come from this planet that's so sheltered where like there's nothing bad. And apparently KB has suffered such a terrible injury, I wonder what happened to cause it. But
Season two, maybe, John. We'll see.
I
I
hope
hope
so.
so. I hope so.
Or maybe if the SM33 fan fiction's a hit, maybe I'll invade some of my KB fan fiction. So uh, we'll see. We'll see, everybody.
You're no Twilight, sir. You're no whatever that was. That's fan fiction first or something.
So yes, we've got Wim and KB following the trash crabs, and we've got Neil and Fern climbing up. And I feel like Fern's big thing is to learn that everybody can't kind of operate at her speed. Which Neil, not a problem, not in an awful way too, but just like, hey, I can't go as I'm much shorter. I
Yeah.
I can't go as fast as you. And we see Fern just find some rope and realize like, oh yeah, hey, I'll just tie you to me, and this will keep you stable, and we can move at a better clip. And for as daunting as that like cliffside scaling seemed to be at the top when Fern suggested it, other than just getting Fern tied up to him, James, that climb relative very seems very easy.
Yeah,
It
no,
would have been for me.
yeah. Well, Frank, you and I both wouldn't be climbing up that thing. I'm sorry, we're not. I have no illusions whatsoever. I'm not trying to pretend like I could do that. I would have followed the trash crabs. I'm like, we're going that direction. I'm not going to try to climb those. But this is easier. A little side note: Marcus 79 says the crabs were riddled with Easter eggs, droid parts galore.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too about this is that because I think at one point Wim actually asked KB and was like, "Listen, did you come with me only because you knew you couldn't climb, or because you actually think the trash crabs will help us?" And she didn't really answer. But what's funny is that following the trash crabs is what saved her life
Right,
because they wouldn't have had the parts that they needed
right.
for Wim to replace, her equipment, if she had not gone with Wim. So in a way, like while they failed and almost got eaten by this giant trash crab or whatever at the end, it's the only thing that saved her life because she wouldn't have gotten those parts if they were, climbing up the side of that thing and then she stopped being able to move. So.
Remarkably easy for Wim to compare to repair that, as well as like just digging a little drilling a little hole in the sand, just melt down the circuitry and then just pour it in. I was like, man, that's gonna be hot to pick out. Nope, pretty cool. It's pretty quick to the touch. It's like, wow, all right, we just slap it in and we're good to go. Uh, but it was cool to see Wim have a win, so to speak, because I mean, I know he's been struggling on this. That he wants this adventure, but still not quite sure how things are going. So to see him have somebody's life literally in his hands and be able to help out,
Yeah.
uh, it was a good moment for him. Uh, but they did continue to follow the trash crab, and they do in find like the king of the trash crabs. Uh, just a huge giant trash crab. Which I'm trying to figure out, John. What do you think is like the deal? Are they bringing this as like tribute? Is that like the deal? Does the trash crab just go like, why does this trash crab need all these little trash crab babies to go around and grab droid parts and bring them back to him?
I I don't know. I don't know if that's just like their armor, and then they go and find like, oh, unsuspecting people, and they're like, oh yeah, help, we'll help, follow us, follow us, and then they bring their mom or dad or whoever it is, kids to eat.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking, oh, is it like a How to Train Your Dragon situation where they've got like that big, huge dragon that's kind of controlling all the other smaller dragons, and they bring in food and whatnot to the giant dragon, but they're just bringing this giant trash crab droid parts. So I'm just like, well, what's this trash crab going to do with a bunch of droid stuff?
I thought the crabs were really gonna help them. Like I really thought that like that was what we were getting to. It was that like Wim is gonna save the day. The crabs were the key, and that's not that's not what happened.
No, not at all. We do get to see though that Neil and Fern, compared to women and KB, very easy to get to the ship. Hey, we're just gonna climb right up, boop, we're gonna hop right in, and they realize as they before they can quite get up to the top though, the good old spot plan. It's like, hey, we don't need this big frigate on our landing dock taking up so much valuable real estate from all our other clients. So let's just dump it in the junkyard. So they get a couple of their towing ships and start lifting away, and then we get to see KB and Ford doing a little action, little stunts, jump down onto the side of one of the steering ships and trying to pilot away. James, how'd you like seeing the kids in a little action sequence?
It was cute. It was cute. It was manageable. It came at the right time. Towards the end of the episode. So I thought it was fun. I mean, I feel like they're getting this is a real life thing now. They gotta get off the island. You gotta get off wrong show. I'm seeing Survivor behind me. We have to get off. We have to get off of the planet. I almost an island again. Get off the planet. So now they're leading into they gotta do what they gotta do. I mean, they've had some adventures already by now. So I mean, this isn't a far fetch for them now. They can do it. So I thought it was good.
Yeah, because like John, I feel like that's the thing with this series is the kids as young as they are to be involved in action type sequences that seem or it's like age appropriate, but something realistically that kids of their age could successfully do. And this seemed to kind of fit. Like, oh yeah, all right. Knowing how tech savvy they are, they could just jump on the top of one of those garbage tractor ships and take over the piloting of it and navigate the ship to where they needed to go. Did that ring for you too?
Yeah, I felt it was like it kind of fit with the whole theme of the episode, right? Where it's like these kids have been put on this adventure. They've just been trying to make it back home, and they go from one crazy thing to another. And it's like now they've been stranded on this planet, and they got to get back to their ship. Um, and they were separated for a while, right? They had their own little internal struggles and arguments. Um, and now they're like it caused them to have to grow a little bit on their own, become a little bit more independent. I feel like the show has done a pretty good job of showing these kids. When we first met them, I feel like we all knew that they weren't just regular kids, right? Like they all have these dreams. They want to do more, bigger things, go on adventures. And I feel like now they've done it and they've faced some adversity. And now here they are, and they are all going into their roles, right? It's like KV's like, oh, I think I know how to start the ship. I watched SM-33 do it. And Wim is like, oh, I'll go into the gun and try to shoot this thing off of us. And Neil's like, oh, I'll do the thrust. And Fern's like, I'll steer. It's like they all have their own little jobs, right? And KB is like, oh, I'll start the engine. And it's like now it's like we're seeing them grow and like kind of find their own sort of way and become more independent, which I think kind of fits with what was happening earlier in the show where they kind of split up, had their issues, and then came back together to work together again.
Well, this does lead into the most exciting part of the episode, is where we do see uh, Fern and oh, James went away.
Oh wow.
Oh, hosting now. Look at
It
me.
says Frank Moran is the host now, yeah.
Look at me.
Are we even still live?
I don't know if we are. Maybe. Well, I guess we can talk like as we are, and we'll see.
Yeah. Just keep
Uh,
on going.
uh, but we see that Fern and Neil are able to pick up Wim and KB. They crash. They're all like, "Ah, we're back together again." But then the cool part of the episode is where they all of a sudden they hear like the compactor machine. Oh, nice. Well, look who's back.
I don't know why all of a sudden decided to do that. So it's tired. Folks out of here in LA. I don't know what's going on.
Well, we do see the kids reunite. Fern and Neil save KB and Wim. They crash down to the ground, and then they realize, hey, there's a compactor droid about to devour, or at least a machine, devour our ship. And this I thought was the most interesting part of the episode because as they're trying to, as they're seeing it, they kind of get back into the kind of areas of expertise they have on the ship to try to extract it from the compacting machine. Like you're seeing like the ship getting destroyed, and at that point I'm thinking like, how's this even? Can they even get out of this? Because even if they do, this ship is getting torn apart. Is this even going to be space worthy? And we get to see a nice little surprise where there's actually like it turns out to be it's just the outer shell that's getting destroyed. James, was that a surprise to you to find out that it was like an M&M that was just a candy coating?
Yeah, that was so weird, right? It was like, oh, okay, but it was very cool. I'll take it. It was very cool. We hadn't seen that before, right? We never seen it
Yeah.
before. So I was like, I didn't expect that. So you actually surprised me with something. So I thought it was weird, but I'm fine with it. And I'm not against it. It was fine. That was interesting. And that whole sequence to the end was good. So I liked. I didn't mind. I liked the whole sequence to the end. So it was good.
James, I would love to see you in the writers' room. You're like, I'm not against that.
Not against it. But I'm like, okay, we can go there. That's fine. I actually have done that in many rooms. Trust me. I'm like, I'm not like not for it. I'm not saying I'm for it really either. That's how you do it. Like when you see an ugly baby, you just go, "Oh, that's a baby." Okay, don't call it ugly. You just go, "It's a baby. That's your baby." Got it.
Oh wow, look at that baby.
Look at that baby.
Just
Oh,
look at it. Just look at it.
look at that baby. Exactly. That's all.
John, for an episode that was kind of action light until the end, were you happy with the action that you did get?
Yeah, definitely. I thought this was really cool. Watching the ship come out of the shell like that. Um, it's a really cool looking ship. I know we're not getting into episode 7 too, but like I love like when we kind of get more of an explanation, right, on the ship itself. I really like everything around this, right? So coming out of that shell and then kind of learning more about why this ship is so important now, why it's like the key to everything. Um, Really cool. Not a twist I was expecting whatsoever from this type of show, but I think it's a very smart twist. And it kind of leads me to having more of these questions about what really happened to Renaud, maybe. Could this have been sort of like a planned crash landing? Like sort of a kind of throw people off? I don't know. We'll see. But very excited.
Yeah. Uh, and so while the kids make their escape from the clutches of compacted death, we get to see Jod up on the pirate frigate, using his charms to convince everybody to not throw him immediately out the airlock, and instead follow his coordinates because he knows where Ad-Aton is, and it's not just about finding just a bit of treasure; it's about finding like a lifetime of treasure. Uh, so, James, did you enjoy seeing Jod work his magic?
Yes, of course. I mean, he's just good. It's good. Now we're leading towards the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So now we got to see. I have what's good about this series is I thought, okay, great. The kids go out there. Of course, they bring back trouble. That has to happen. And Ad has been so magical and mystical and peaceful that has to happen. I mean, I haven't seen 7 yet, but I'm assuming 8 will probably be that. Everybody's going to meet up there. There's going to be a problem. The parents are going to. It has to be. It has to be some kind of problem. So it all makes sense. Again, story wise, it makes sense to me.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, John, I don't know. Maybe it's just me, and so I don't know if this is a story point that's sticking to you.
It's
Is that
probably
it probably is, and so I'll write my own little fan fiction about it, answering this if it's not answered in episode 7 or 8. Uh, uh, at the beginning of episode 1, John, when John and his pirate crew get that Republic vessel and they go in, they just find like the one credit sitting there in the vault. Do you think that we need to find out why that ship existed with just that one credit, or that is just a little unnecessary story piece that was just at the top to get the story going?
I hadn't really thought about it until now, but I guess there could be more to it, but from what I've taken from it, and like when I first watched it, I just like saw it as sort of the show is just giving us an example of one of Jod's apparently many failures that's caused this whole crew to turn on him. Like I didn't read into it any more than that. I just felt like, all right, this is one of probably 1,000 jobs this crew tried to pull at this guy's, direction. And here we are yet again, our whole crew. All we get is one measly credit to split between all of us. So it's another failure of this terrible captain we have. That's all I really kind of took it as, but I don't know if maybe there should be more weight put in.
I will be curious, like with John and I having seen episode 7, and James not. Yeah, I will just say my answers are still waiting. My questions are still waiting to be answered. So
Okay.
in 2 weeks, that's in 2 weeks though, guys. Because next week we're going to be diving into episode 7.
well,
Um,
no, I'm thinking we'll do 7 and 8, right? We'll do both.
we'll do. Oh, it's going to be a double dose of good times. All right.
We'll do 7 and 8. And if you fans are nice to us, we may do a postseason wrap up like we've done before. So you might get to squeeze somewhere. So we like being together. So might
Yeah.
squeeze her because our next series won't be until April, and that's Andor season 2.
Oh, I
Oh,
cannot
That's like
wait.
4 months, like three
Cannot
months from
wait.
now. So we might squeeze it out. I mean, unless you guys think we should do just 7 and then just do 8. I mean, it's up to you. I'll talk to them afterwards. I'll talk to them afterwards.
uh,
We'll be
uh,
back next week for sure. We'll be back
yeah.
next week.
Um, Well, yeah, we certainly we can talk about it, but I guess hey, so we're more current. Doing 7 and 8 as a package deal kind of makes sense as well.
It does. That's what I figure.
I just don't know if I'll be able to contain my excitement next week because I will definitely have watched the finale
Yeah.
before we stream about it. So
Oh, we don't want to do that to
I
John.
might be dropping spoilers.
No, we'll do 7 and 8 because the finale's next Tuesday, right? Isn't it next
It
Wednesday?
is.
So
Tuesday, yeah.
we're back next Thursday. So we'll do both 7 and 8. We'll
Oh,
do it. Because also
hopefully,
the fans, I want to tell the fans just 1 second. The fans have been wonderful. They've made the show a huge hit for us again, like the other Star Wars shows. So I want to thank the fans for sure listening to us. So anyway, that's it. Thank you, fans. We appreciate it.
Only
if we
fans.
yeah, that's true. Maybe if we get lucky, there might be like some at least teaser trailer for Andor. After,
Ooh.
which would be
Ooh.
And so, folks, we have an Andor after show, so you check it out now. And if there's a teaser, we'll come back on that show and talk about it. We'll talk about it.
We haven't gotten any trailers for season 2 of Andor yet, have we? Right?
Oh,
We got to get something soon, right? You think we'd get some kind of look at the season?
It better happen until like February because it's April. They should do something now, but I'm thinking next month possibly.
maybe Super Bowl related.
Could be a Super Bowl thing.
I would love that.
Yeah,
You're right.
that's true. It's only a month away. So,
And the Steelers will be in the Super Bowl, so it'll be crazy. I'll be watching it.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
You know what? I think you're right.
First.
I think you're right, Frank. I think we're gonna get a trailer during the Super Bowl. That's what I think for Andor season 2.
That's early February. It's like
Yeah.
3 weeks from now. So
Yeah. Okay. All right. Right around the corner.
okay, he's like, okay, I'll take that,
All
Frank. Okay, he's like, okay.
I'm down for that.
All right, well, folks, that's going to do it for this double dose of goodness on the Skeleton Crew after show right here on JLJ Media. As Jim said, if you're a fan of Star Wars, we've got you covered here. Plenty of Star Wars content. We've recapped all the other shows, except for Rebels, but every live action series, we've got you covered with lots of thoughts, witty insights by John and James, and a lot of just mush mouth talking from myself.
I have no wits. I have none. Let's be honest. I'm an idiot.
And I have a show called Darth Vader is Your Father, which I talk about Star Wars related stuff. But I do have reviews of the Bad Batch on there, so just want to make sure I did cover it on that one.
There you go. And
Love the
James
Bad
does that
Batch.
usually laying in a like a bubble filled bathtub, so it's worth.
I love oil baths. Frank knows I love oil baths. They're not televised, but I do love oil baths. Revolution will not be televised. Trust me, I'm not.
I don't know. Fans, feel free to ping away in the chat. Would you like to see James do any kind of live shows from his bathtub in a bubble bath? Please say yes. But folks, if you want to stay in touch with any of us here, any more of our Star Wars thoughts, or ask us any questions, it doesn't even have to be Star Wars. It could be just about, what is a great white wine for risotto.
That sounds good.
Yeah, the person you're going to want to talk to is you're going to want to reach out to John Dunphy.
Mm.
John, where can they find you if they have such questions, not just necessarily about Star Wars, but about a life and love and the pursuit of merriment?
Yes. I am a life coach and I can help you. So reach out at JDunn89 on Instagram and Twitter. Also, if you're interested in competitive reality TV like Big Brother, Survivor, The Challenge, or The Traitors, which just dropped tonight, season 3 of The Traitors, you can find me at Strat Chat Pod. That's Strat Chat Pod, where I do another podcast with 2 friends of mine, Kyle and Gina. We talk about these fun shows, and you should come hang out with us. So,
will you be covering Deal or No Deal Island?
No.
Got Poverty back this season. It's got.
I know there's just too much to do. I'm gonna be watching. I'm gonna be watching Parvati on Australian Survivor, Australia versus the World. So.
Oh wait, is she competing on that?
I believe so.
That's awesome. I mean, we've got the Golden God, David from Australia.
Saria is also going to be on it.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Boston Rob.
What?
Really? Intriguing. That sounds very cool.
Yeah, if you guys want to use my VPN, let me know because it's technically the Australian version of the show, but all these American because it's Australia versus the world. So they have all these other people from the U.S. version on it, but it's on in Australia.
Oh, like come on, Paramount Plus, you got to come through and start airing that
Right.
stuff.
Yeah, right. I was like,
Yeah, Suri is on it. Parvati, yep, Parvati's on it. Tony Vlachos.
Man, Freshman's Trader stint. I guess he went out and did Australian Survivor.
Yeah. Shawnee, you know Shawnee? Oh my God, she's beautiful.
Shut
Australian. My God. Oh my God, I'm in love with
When
that
does
thing.
this start?
It's TBD because there's another Australian Survivor season that's supposed to be starting next month, which is Brains versus Brawn
Got it.
2. So that Australian version will run first this year, and then Australia versus the world will be on after that.
That sounds like a really cool concept for the season. Uh, Overall, is an Australian Survivor? How does it? How would you rank it compared to ours in terms of enjoyment?
I
Equal.
think that Australian Survivor is the best competitive reality TV show in the world.
Wow.
Yeah,
And this is coming from a man who's part of the Strat Chat podcast, so he knows competitive reality shows.
that's right. That's right.
Interesting. All right. Well, you've heard it here first, folks.
Yeah, this very very cool. This Australian Survivor season, right? They're gonna have Australians on. They're gonna have U.S. players on. They're also gonna have players from Survivor New Zealand, Survivor Norway, and Survivor South Africa. Um,
Oh,
so
wow.
very exciting season.
Man. All right. Keep me, yeah, I'll keep an eye out for that because that would be fun to watch.
Yeah, I will definitely keep you in the loop.
Thank you. Uh, our Sith Lord and founding father, James Lott Jr. Where can they find you?
in my early hundreds. Um, so folks, I'm actually speaking of Big Brother. I'm becoming friends with Rachel Riley. Oh,
Oh,
Big
I
Brother.
love Rachel
He
Riley.
is actually. I hated her on the show, so to speak. But she was great TV. But her and Brendan are still married, folks. You guys know they have kids. They're married. But we're actually becoming friends off camera. So it's been I was interesting. I never expected that. She's very sweet, very funny.
She's been helping with casting for what is it? The show.
she's on Worst Cooks of America right now.
Yeah, yeah.
With I Love New York and all they're all on there. But and Frankie Grande.
Oh yeah.
Standing him. But she's also helping with trainers too.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's some other show too because apparently I forget what it is now, but apparently Kyle has messaged her.
Yeah. So
Um,
I actually know her, so yes.
yeah, and he might have an audition for one of these
Oh, good.
shows.
Well, I will if he does, I'll put a good word in for him.
Yeah. So I'll have to ask him and let you know because I forget what the show is
I'll
now.
give a
But
shout out to Rachel Riley.
yeah, but how good for Rachel Riley, by the way, huh?
Yeah. No,
Started out on
OG.
Big Brother. Now
OG.
right. Yeah. OG Big Brother person. Now she's helping out with casting for all these shows. Like,
Smart. The thing is, they're actually her and her husband obviously is really smart, but she's actually really smart.
yeah.
She's a really good. She's making it. She's making it stretch, and in smart ways. She's making it
Yeah.
stretch.
Yeah.
How did yours and hers orbits start
I
coming?
met her years ago after TV.
After Buzz. After Buzz.
And we kept in touch. And recently, we've just been talking. We're getting closer and closer. We've been talking. So she's very cool, very very cool person.
Yeah.
So shout out to speaking of the Big Brother or anything. But you can find we're all James Lott Jr.'s are sold at James Lott Jr. and also streaming platforms. Frank and I both do another show. We're coming back for our 10th year, 10th kind of season. JHB Spotlight coming back Sunday on the 19th of Sunday. January 19th on Sunday. Shit. Obviously I'm tired. But this whole year, Frank doesn't know this. I'm making this announcement in front of Frank. Throughout the season, I'll be inviting people from our past to come on the show. You won't know who they are until they come on, Frank. to celebrate our 10 years together. And I reached out to some folks that we haven't heard from in a long time. Long time. They said yes. They said yes.
Wow.
But which Sunday's going to be folks from our past, from the Aspers TV days on, who are going to come on and talk about our 10 years together. So,
oh dear Lord,
Frank, get ready, Frank. I found some folks. I was like, oh my God, we're getting you on the show back here. So it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
Very good. Man. All right. We'll see if I, at what point I melt down. Like, what is this person doing here?
When Lucretia comes on, no. Where can they find you, Frank?
Find me on all social media at Happy Go Jackie, and yeah. If you're a fan of X-Men, the animated X-Men 97, the animated series, our art book is going to be coming out beginning of April. So just we were just sending that off to the printer. It's going to be great. You want to see all the incredible artwork? Wow. Yes. I had a hand in putting that together, which is really cool. A lot of incredible art by a lot of incredibly talented people on the show, and some really cool insight from our directors and our supervising producer on the show. So well worth.
But not Bo DeMeo. Is he in it all? No. Thank you, everybody. Got it. Okay.
Wait. Yes. So well worth buying if you were into that show. Yeah, I've seen it already. It is amazing.
Yeah.
So
awesome. Congratulations.
Thanks. Folks, that's going to do it for this episode of the Skeleton Crew After Show. But we'll be back next week with our 2-part finale, episode 7 and 8, right here on JLJ Media. Until then, may the force be with you always.
May the force be with you.